Hello, this is Lani with Broken Shell Stampin', well, Broken SeaShell Stamping, and I am just gonna show you a book I was working on for a travel journal. It's been a while since I have been able to make a video. My phone is not cutting it, so it's making it difficult to make videos, but I'm trying here. So this is using just an envelope. So if you look at my some of my previous videos, you'll see how to make it, but it's just made with a standard envelope. Actually, this was an envelope that I had gotten in the mail, but it's just something kind of like this, and then it's just folded in half and designed. This one's a pretty big one. This one's a little smaller, as you can see. Well, maybe not. Let's see here. Back out for a second. See my messy desk? It's just a little bit bigger. Well, a lot bigger. But you can turn these into any of them, and you can make them with the smaller ones, like my example, how this one was smaller. And it makes little mini books. But since I've already made the album, the physical album itself, I didn't go through that. I was just playing with this. You'll see the time lapse posting on putting most of this together. And let's see if I can measure this envelope here for you. I just have my small, right now my big rulers right here. So this envelope size was, let's see, this was a 10 by 8.5 envelope that I turned into a little mini road trip book. The pages, now in the other album I showed you, the pages were made out of other envelopes, so we used 3 envelopes to make 6 pages. For this one, I wanted to do something a little different, and so I just used regular 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and I cut it down. This is cut down to 9.5 instead of 11 by, yeah, I didn't have to do too much, about a little bit over an 8. It's about 8 1/16, maybe an 1/8. It really doesn't matter the exact size, as long as when you cut it and fold them in half, they fold together. So same procedure with the back of the envelope. It's a little harder. That's just used, really, it's with in the kits, the Stampin' Up! Kits, or a paper pumpkin. It's just this cardboard in there, or as I demonstrated in the other video, it's just like a piece of cardboard. I used a FedEx or UPS envelope just to cut it and give it some kind of base. But if you really want a harder binder, you can use those chipboards in the kits. It's on the bottom of the kit in your paper pumpkin or just a regular kit. So I started designing these ones, and as I said before, I'll show you in the time lapse. The back, I kind of threw that together because it just fit. And I designed this end and this end. And again, these are for travel journals. So I want to leave spaces to journal, which is why these have more lines in them, so I can journal about the road trip. Same thing on this side here. And they just fit in a pocket, which I just cut down. Kind of wanted to do some different colors, and I usually try to do like road trip types or trees, but for this album, I kind of just wanted to use purples. And this Perennial, it's the Perennial Lavender paper, which I had posted it on a picture, and I thought that this paper was retired, but it's not. And I'm really excited because I might get another pack. It's just gorgeous. It's this item here, 162, $5.93. So that's the gist of most of the paper I'm using is the Perennial Lavenders, but the colors I did kind of like a random amount, and I'll show you each of those as I have them here. So they are retired in colors, or soon to be retiring in colors, that I used for this book here. And that the main, except for Highland Heather, so don't do what I did and leave your Highland Heather open overnight when you fall asleep and don't come back in. So those are the color choices I picked for this little album. Highland Heather, Soft Succulent, which is retired, Moody Mauve, which is sadly going away, and Orchid Oasis, which is already gone. I have lots of stock in it because I really miss that. I also use Lost Lagoon as my highlight for Soft Succulent. Then I also got the pre-order of Secret Sea, and I just love the way Secret Sea looks with all these. Here, let's do this a little more color schemed, and so I just love playing with colors. So those are the colors that are used in this album. I edged the sides with Highland Heather, so you can see it, and I also used the stamp set on the actual envelope before I glued down the paper. This one is actually an old retired one that I just had a scrap laying around, and I just threw it in there for color. Moody Mauve is this part here, and I did mostly Moody Mauve here. This is Orchid Oasis. Oh, I forgot one more color. Crumb Cake. So let's look at that nice stack of colors. They work. At least if that's any evidence of. The camera doesn't really show the color as well as I'd like. But I loved Orchid Oasis, and I just didn't get a chance to play with it as much as I wanted to. So there's the Orchid Oasis and Highland Heather and Crumb Cake. So the Soft Succulent is the accent here, and as well as back here. This is an old die that Stampin' Up! Used to carry, and it's one of my favorites for scrapbooking especially. I put it in a lot of my books. The pattern paper is adhered with the standard multi-purpose glue, as well as Terran tape. If you're going to do these, sometimes it can get sticky, and Stampin' Up! Does have, I believe they still have it, a little eraser, adhesive eraser that I use to kind of scrape away some of the residue. So that's the little travel book. I'm going to keep working on. I'll probably do a time lapse of the rest. Some more of these pages. I might not finish it before I go on my road trip. Lots of different stamp sets were involved in this one. This is one of them I used, the Thoughtful Wishes. Keeping Tabs, which I think is Last Chance here soon. I wanted to go with a vintage look, which is why I use that Field Notes that's from another retired set. I know lots of them that you can't get, but the Thistle was, if you wanted to work with the ones that you purchased before they went out on the Last Chance and retired, this is just another thing you can do with them. It's a beautiful Thistle. This one was also a Celebration that I got, and I've been using that. This is one of my favorite stamp sets. Love this moment because it is definitely a scrapbooker, travel journaler's dream because it's got all the perfect verbiage. And then this is a new stamp set that I've also been using, the Adventure Together. Those are some of them. I've got them written down here. The other one I'm going to work on today is going to be some of the Resourceful Rusty, because I could not get this set. I just love this little guy. Rusty is just absolutely adorable. I want to use that one so badly because that's just is me half the time, just especially on the road trips. So thank you for tagging along, and I will go ahead and do some of this stamping here and die cutting. The die cuts I used, this is a new one. I believe I have a tendency to throw my die cuts around and lose track of where they came from. So I apologize on this one. It's the one that, see, even with the time lapse showing me making this album, it was all random. I had nothing planned out. I had no idea where I was starting with other than some of the colors. But this is the new set from the nature one. There we go. Here, I've got that. Grow with Love. This stamp set. This is really good. It coordinates with the latest one of the latest paper pumpkin kits. I believe it's this one. Let's see. Yeah, Hello Spring from February 2025. So if you've got that kit, this stamp set goes really well with it. I mean, it's exactly, it has the same, this one doesn't have chives. Chives is in the paper pumpkin, which I actually kept that in here. That's the paper pumpkin one that goes right with it. But the dies are from this one. It's the Grow with Love dies. It's the bigger of the little word blocks that you could call it. I wanted to use this one in my journal as well, so I might go ahead and use this out, leave this out. And Grow with Love has some other things that definitely go with the vintage look, which is another reason why I got this one, because I love anything that I can turn vintage. So Grow with Love is another one. That's item number 167. I'm sorry, 164, 797. So lots of different stamp sets. Now, besides that, those are mostly the dies that I used. Let's see here. Oh, the Keeping Tabs makes these. This is stamped in Orchid Oasis on the crumb cake. And so I used just different ones with that. This border is the Corner Punch, which I think is also retired. But you can use this for that edges on that to give it a little design. So there's my journaling blocks. And this page is pretty much for these size photographs that you would just put here, here, here. I actually measured, not that one. So this one here, I spaced it out, so the picture will go right there, and then the other picture down here when I get them printed. These are just my guides. To make these pages, once I did the cut down, I just simply score them in half, which I believe is 4 1/4 inches. I'd have to go back to my notes. Used a crocodile to punch holes as far as I could get it in. Threaded a ribbon through, and then just pulled it through the other side and tied it in a bow. And that's a perfect binding. You can also use it to carry. So let me know what you think. I just love making little mini albums in any way that I can just play around with my stamps, and you just never know where it takes you. Because I really started with the 3 colors I originally showed you, which was the Moody Mauve, the Soft Succulent, and the Highland Heather, and it expanded to 4 more colors. So, alrighty. I hope you're enjoying this little series. I will be back with some ocean sounds for us to go ahead and do some more designing of the pages. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and please like and subscribe, and on to the show. Okay, I'm back with the final done pages from the last time I was talking. It's late and I'm tired, so I'm going to bed after this is done. But I wanted to just do a little bit of a commentary on the rest of these here. I know how I did not stamp it too straight. The other time I did it straight, sometimes I didn't, but it's just a scrapbook. It doesn't really matter, especially once I write. What I might do is highlight that. You know what? Why don't I just go ahead and do that? I'm just going to take a ruler, because the line on college ruled paper is usually red anyway. There's no reason why I can't give it a little more definition. You like my old school ruler? Spider-Man 2. It's really old. There. So now I got a little defining line. These, I left this part blank because I will most likely just handwrite whatever's there. I'll probably put a picture. I always like little hidden images after you've got something covering it. So when you lift out, you're like, oh, there's more. So, and this pocket's going to remain open for something we get on the road. So like, let's say I get a postcard or something like a tag from a new shirt. I like to put tags in there from things that we get on the road, like a souvenir tag. So that is going to save that space for those. I don't have an example here. Oh, yes, I do. So, like, for example, this is my Barnes & Noble tag from buying. Actually, I will, because I have the membership, so we get a new bag every year. And I couldn't resist. I was like, ooh, this does make a good little insert. So what I would do is take one of the photographs, put it in here, and then write on it. Or if it's a cool looking tag, I'll just leave it and stick it in there. And then it's got personal road trip paraphernalia that doesn't cost anything other than what you already have buying. So that's why that's going to stay blank or empty for more than just this one tag. If for some reason I don't have anything on the way when I get home, I'll put something there. This one I left just open with just a little bit of design with the page design. This is a very old one. They did have a newer one that was available. I don't think there's anything right now. But any kind of little border stamp that you have will work really well there. There is a die cut that does that in one of them. I believe the Notes of Nature. I just love this vintage look. These thistles are just perfect. And what do you think of Rusty? He's so cute. I might not have had you in my camera when I was doing the rest of that, so I apologize. And now the last that I have not. Whoa, there goes all my stuff. I had that teeter-tottering on my ink spot, so apologize for that. I skipped a page. I went right to this one. Decided to draw some lines. You saw in the video, the time-lapse, but just kind of keeping it blank until I figure out. Sometimes it's hard to make each page look a little different without doing the same. I have a tendency, I want to put a pocket on every single page because I just love pockets. But I'm trying to refrain from all pockets on my book. But as you can see, I've got plenty of space to play with. So the next video in the series, I will show more little intricate die cuts and the rest of this design if I get a chance to before I go on my road trip. I might just do something really simple. Sorry, my dog decided to get off the couch. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this and the taste of the beach you got. My little happy campers is what's going to be featured probably next. I'm going to use that. We don't have a motorhome, but I'm going to get the truck stamp set out and the truck punch to go with that, since we are going to take a truck when we eventually get going on a vacation for spring break. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching.